This episode sponsored by Lake Monster Details, producing the Don's Light and Magic Legacy line of parts, offering upgrade parts and decals for accuracy, special effects, and lighting. Visit www.lakemonsterdetails.com and make it glow. Also sponsored by GCals, producing aftermarket replacement decals and custom quality graphics for your favorite spaceships. Visit www.gcals.company.site and add some personalization to your sci-fi models today. What's up, guys? Will here. Welcome back to Model from the Engine Share. This is episode 6 of the 148 scale Aoshima Airwolf build. And I say episode 6, but really this is just kind of a quick update. Next week I won't have an episode because I'll be in California, like I mentioned in my last video. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that here in a little bit. But I'm going to be out there checking out the Star Trek exhibit and also trying to take a look at the clone, I guess, or the remade Airwolf that was used to be in Tennessee. Now it's in a museum in Compton, California. So since I'm going to be out there, I'm going to try to swing by to take a look at that. We'll talk more about that here in a minute. Right now, what I've been working on is the seams on this, trying to get them kind of taken care of so I can have them ready for final paint. So actually, after I go take this visit next week, I have a better idea of how I want to paint this. So give me a minute, I'll put you on the bench, we'll get to work. All right, guys, so working on the seams on my Airwolf here, and what I'm doing is I'm doing a little trick I learned from Boyd over at TrekWorks. And yes, I know there's a lot of other modelers that do this, but I got to give credit to Boyd over at TrekWorks for showing this, and that's where I picked this up from. But there's a lot of little details on this Airwolf, and you don't want to have to sand and mess them up. So what I've been doing is I'll tape off both sides of the seam that I want to work with, and I'll use my Tamiya putty, my white Tamiya putty here to fill it in. And what I'll do is I'll fill that in, let it dry, and then you can pull the tape off. And you'll see what you get is you just get this thin bit of putty here to work with, and you don't have to do as much sanding to get this where you want it to be at. So same thing down here in the front. Just peel this off. And as you can see, you just got a very thin line of putty there that you got to sand and work with. It fills in that seam. So that's what I do to work with these seams without having to do a whole lot of sanding, because you can see back here where I've been working, I actually do have, there is a panel line here which isn't completely gone, but what I'll do is I'll come back in, and there's another one here. But definitely around these vents you want to be careful not to do too much sanding, because you could sand these off real easy. But what I'll do is I'll come back, and I've got some etching tape, which is really just a really thick tape that you'll put along the line you want to etch. And then I'll come in with my Tamiya etcher here to re-etch those panel lines and get those back on there. I got another one right here. And there's actually a little square box on the front here, which I sanded a little bit, that I'm going to have to come back in and do a little work to. That's the great thing about having this second one, is I can go back and look at it and I can see, yeah, you know, I've got this box here, which I think is some type of vent or something, I'm not sure. But I got to come back in and do those lines at the seam, this one here. Now there's a little raised detail here that I sanded off. I'm not too worried about that. If I could think of a decent way to put that back on there, I will. But it's just a very thin lip there, very thin line. But then these panel lines back here, I'll have to come back in and etch a little bit. The good thing is they aren't completely gone, so I can easily put the tape in place to re-etch those. But so that's what I'm working on with that. I'll get those taped up, and when that all dries, I'll come back with some sandpaper and I'll fold it down to where I can get a nice edge on it and get some kind of focus. This is a 220 grit that I'm starting with, and that way I can just kind of come in with this and just sand all the way up the spine of this, and then come back down it. But the great thing about doing this too, rather than sanding it flat, is especially when you work around all these lines down here, you're not sanding everything at once. You can just kind of focus and just try to focus just on the seam you want to sand. So, but anyway, that's what I'm doing with that. I got some more work to do on that. I'll do 220 and get it down, and then I'll come back in. I think this is an 800 or, yeah, it's an 800. I'll come back in with this 800 grit and sand it a bit just to get it nice and smooth. And then once I think I got it, like I said, I got to re-etch those panel lines. I'll come in with some primer and put a coat of primer on it, see where we're looking or how we're looking as far as those seams. And you see I'm doing the same thing on the bottom side here. You've got to fill these seams in as well. It's nice that they mold this in a lighter color, but it really doesn't make a difference because you're going to have to come in and seam work this. And these I had to tear into little pieces to make it fit the curve. But you can see doing it this way just leaves that little bit of putty, and this isn't completely dry yet, so it's got to sit a bit longer. But just leaves that little bit of putty to deal with instead of a whole big glob, you know, that sometimes happens when you're trying to put the stuff on there. But you can see I worked out took care of the seam here where this piece attaches to the side. There's a seam here, so I've taken care of that. That's all worked out on both sides all the way around. And I decided these top windows here, I just put cotton, tore up a cotton ball and kind of pushed it in there. And then, you know, later on I can come back with my fine point tweezers and fish it out. But the reason why I decided not to glue the windows in place is because I noticed when I was doing my light test, I'm getting a little bit of a light leak where that back cockpit wall meets the side of the body. There's a little bit of a light leak there behind where Hawk is going to be sitting in my seat here. So I've got an idea how to fix that, but I need to leave this open in order to do it. So I've just shoved these cotton balls in there for now. And that's where the other putty I use is this perfect plastic putty, and that's where that's going to come into play. And we'll talk about that when we get to that step. But so it's good to have a couple different putties. The Tamiya does a lot better for filling in gaps and stuff. This stuff here is more. You can take this stuff and kind of thin it out with water. And what I'm going to do is another trick I learned from Boyd is to make a slurry out of it. And basically you can get a injector, and if I can fit it in this hole, I just got to get right here. If I can fit it in this top window and get it in place, I can put some putty in there and get that filled in. I won't be able to do any work to it, but where it's going, and if I can get it in there just right, you won't notice it anyway. It's just going to get in there to fill that gap so I don't get that light leak coming to the front. Because I need to do the same thing up here too. I noticed that when I light this up down in the bottom where I did that tool up, hoping to light block, it did a good job. It blocked most of it, but there's still a couple little pinhole leaks down here around the rotor area, the rotor housing area. So I'm gonna try to do the same thing too with that, and get some putty slurry in there and get that filled in, and hopefully that'll block that light out. Not getting as much light as I would have liked to. I wasn't too worried about it anyway, but these two marker lights on each side that I ran the fiber optic for, I'm not getting a lot of light out of them. It's no big deal. I wasn't really too worried about it, but I just would like to have seen a little more light out of those than what I'm getting. But since you typically don't see those lit, I'm not too worried about it. But I think this one I'll be able to get lit. I'll probably have to put a piece of fiber optic down there to bring the light up to the plastic part that goes in here. And this one back here I probably won't get a whole lot of light to, but we'll see. Like I said, I wasn't too worried about those parts. Typically they're not lit in the show, but I did see, like I mentioned, I think it was episode 3 or 4 of season 2, The Truth About Holly. You do see these side markers at least lit. I'm not sure about this top one or the bottom one, but these two side markers are lit in that episode at the beginning. So I figured I'd try to get a little light to them, but I'm not too worried about it. So at any rate, I'm going to keep working on these seams. We'll see how much I can get done this week. I'm hoping to have this done this weekend so that next weekend I won't have a assembly video. I will try to do, I'll be on the road, so I'm going to take my laptop with me, and I'm taking a drive out to California. I think I mentioned this last episode. There's a Star Trek exhibit out there at the Skirball Cultural Center in LA. So I'm going to take a ride out there, take a look at that, get some pictures of the, they got a couple Star Trek models out there. They're going to be on display. I think they've got the Enterprise D from Generations, and one of the Enterprise, or not Enterprise, but the Excelsior model that was built for an episode of Voyager, I believe. So I'm going to take a look at that, and I think they've got the Borg cube from First Contact, and some uniforms and some other cool memorabilia to look at. So I'm going to go out there and get some decent pictures, and so that's what I'll be doing next weekend. But I'd like to get this ready, because while I'm out there, my hotel is only about a half-hour drive from where Airwolf, the Airwolf clone, I guess you could say, is at now, out there at the, I think it's like tomorrow's Aviation Museum or something like that, but it's in Compton. So I'm gonna take a slide by there and hopefully do a video there and get some real good pictures of it. So I can, I'm gonna take a swatch, make a swatch up of my my colors here that I want to go with, which is the this side is my Revell color. The I think it's the Phantom. No, the Phantom Metallic is what I got. This is the I'm drawing a blank on the name, but where is my bottle? The Anthracite Gray. This is the Anthracite Gray on this side. And then I also want to look at using how close the Insignia White will be to what's on the actual reproduction there. So get some pictures, do some comparisons hopefully, and that way when I come back I have a better idea of how I want to go with the color on this. But hopefully have these seams all sealed up and everything. So at any rate, that's what I'm going to be working on. I'm going to work on these seams some more, and next week I will hopefully have an update or a video coming to you from Compton, California. And we're going to take a look at a couple things. So just check it out. If I don't know which day it's going to be, I'm hoping to get there early enough Friday to go by the museum and see Airwolf before I go to the Star Trek exhibit. But if I don't, then I'll get by there early Saturday morning and hopefully get a look at it. So if you want to get the notification when I start that live, I plan on doing that one live. I might do the Star Trek one live too. It just depends. But I'll probably do a live broadcast on that. So if you want to get the notification when I start that, please hit that subscribe button below. And if you need to, I'm not sure if you have to anymore. I know you used to have to hit the bell icon to get the notifications as well, but not sure if you still have to do that. But if you want to check it out, and when I get down there, when I start that broadcast, you'll get a notification that it started, and that way you'll know to take a look. But if you miss it, don't worry, I will have it saved and available on the YouTube channel. So at any rate, guys, just a quick update on what I'm working with here, and just want to let y'all know, so that way next weekend I'm not totally missing out on anything. But at any rate, guys, I appreciate everybody's been washing. Please wash. But I appreciate everybody that's been watching these videos, and hopefully you've been finding the information useful. And if you do, please hit that like button below. Let me know how I'm doing. And please, guys, please, if you feel like it, hit the subscribe button below. You don't have to, but again, please let's hit that like button if you find something useful in this videos or any of these videos. But at any rate, guys, that's it for this week. Just a quick update, and I'll let you see where I'm at with this, and hopefully have some more information for you next weekend. But at any rate, guys, thanks for watching, and keep modeling.